Good evening, everyone. This is the attempt to start the East Cleveland unscheduled meeting for Wednesday, January the 11th, I believe. It's supposed to start at 6:30. And these are the East Cleveland City Council people who are in attendance.
Present.
Present.
Persons, and I'm not willing to continue if we have a person who is not a member of the city
Here we go,
council
y'all.
sitting up there.
Here we go.
Point of order. Is Minnesota is the secretary pro tem? What has he been sworn in and all that?
He's a secretary.
He's secretary pro tem?
He's a secretary.
Or he's a secretary?
Yeah, he's a secretary.
Okay, has he been sworn in?
He doesn't need to be sworn in as a secretary.
Are you appointing him? That's the
It
question.
always is.
He is appointed as the secretary. Yes.
So this is the
He's a secretary.
repetitive atmosphere that you all will continue to see as I cover these scheduled and unscheduled East Cleveland City Council meetings. They're supposed to be passing a budget so that the vital city services and employees can be paid.
Remarks of the public. 2 minutes.
Remember that if you're the public, you will be sitting there, the public. So
Well, unless you're a reporter that says he's not on council, she can't independently
You can't
dismiss people from council, just like you can't.
Sir, can you say your name?
Sir.
Oh, sorry, my name is Les Miller, please be quiet.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
My name is Les Miller.
Excuse me.
Give him a name,
I
sir.
have to, for the record, hear his name. I can't hear it over people.
Let me start over.
Sir,
Yeah, just a second.
we don't have police here for security.
He way out
You don't
there.
need no security. This is ridiculous. They're concerned about security and they can't even get the meeting.
My name is Les
Running
Miller, I live at
properly.
1665 Bryn Mawr Road. Tonight's agenda, which we don't have copies of, there's only 3 of them out here, I can't really give you a chance to look at it, is very similar, identical to the agenda from City Council meeting last Tuesday. That meeting was rather chaotic, but I was very distressed and concerned that the new City Council president chose to skip over the 2 public comment periods as listed on the agenda. This is an agenda item. She called it a public meeting, but the public was essentially gagged from commenting or speaking at all. And when folks in the audience demanded to be heard, they were threatened with removal and up to
Sir,
6.
you are supposed to be speaking on an agenda.
This is agenda item.
Right.
This is agenda item.
Sir, there's only one item on the agenda, and you have to
Okay,
address
agenda
the
items only, agenda items only. Please answer.
Ordinance 0123 is on the agenda, and that's what you have to speak
That's
to.
what I'm gonna speak to right now.
No.
Agenda items only. Please answer this question. Has the legislation being presented this
What do you
evening
mean?
been properly formatted by the city law department as required by the city charter? I heard that they were not. Legislation similar or identical to tonight's meeting was to be held at a special city council meeting last Friday at 2:30. It looks like most of the
Sir,
folks
you are
didn't
off
show up.
subject again. Thank you.
I was talking about the
Are there any
agenda.
other remarks of the public?
Madam Chairman, I would appreciate if you would make agendas so people can see where they can see what's on the agenda.
Hey, that's not on the agenda.
It's right, it's right.
Take a stand.
It's not on the agenda.
Wow.
I apologize, there's not any agendas tonight, but you will have agendas in the future. Thank you.
What is here?
And
Could you
sir, you
read?
have to stay on subject, sir.
Ma'am, I can't stay on subject, I need to tell me what's on the agenda.
Right.
Hang your gavel. He's not talking about the legislation.
ordinance number 01-23, an appropriations ordinance that amends the mayor's estimate from $36,000,103.44 to $26,375,90 in a various fund for the
funding for continuance of the city, police, fire service.
That's what's on the agenda, sir.
Okay, so, let me ask the question. Has the council met and analyzed this opportunity?
It's not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda, old man.
I'm speaking to.
But it's not on the agenda though,
I'm
man.
speaking to the council.
But I'm talking to you. It's not on the agenda.
You
out
can't
of
be
order.
speaking out. Come on, let's speak to the agenda. Let's speak to the agenda.
Jesus Christ.
Time, Mr. Mayor. Time.
I don't even have my time, I haven't been up here no 2 minutes.
Oh, boy. Here we go, y'all.
Come on, don't do that to me. I've been here long enough to know.
Please, you have to move the agenda, sir.
I'll wait up there.
Oh, boy.
Audience running off at the mouth, we got more confidence. Good evening.
Wow.
I ain't earnest.
As I look around, I see more councilors sitting up here at the front table than there are on the council.
That's on the agenda.
That's not on the agenda.
Uh-oh.
Not on the agenda.
It's not
Wow.
on the agenda, you speak at the end of the meeting.
I have a problem.
There's public comments, though.
It's not on the
Say whatever
agenda.
he wants to.
You have to speak to what's on the agenda.
It looks like everybody sitting up here is not on the council.
That is not on the agenda, sir, so please,
Thank you.
thank you.
I would like to differ, roll call is on the agenda.
If you did the roll call yet?
Oh, my God.
But if you're talking about speaking on agenda items, roll call is on the agenda.
Okay.
All right, any more comments?
Is that the agenda right there?
Are there any more public comments?
Yes, I have a comment.
Sir, state your name and address.
What's up, Justin?
Fred Barkley,
What's your address?
1575 East Fort Road.
That is not in East Cleveland, sir, you
So
can't
only
speak
East
at
Cleveland
this meeting.
residents
That's
can
right.
speak?
Only East Cleveland residents speak at our meetings, sir. Thank you.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
So this is a new rule. This has never been put in place until now where you have to be an East Cleveland resident. This has never been put in place until this current,
I've been attempted to be silenced by this body.
right.
Sir, your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Mark McLean. I live at 15560 Kidney Road in East Cleveland. And I have some comments on the agenda items, if you don't mind.
2 minutes, sir.
Now, if I can speak uninterrupted?
I don't call.
Now, this, if my vote counts, I would speak yay. I would vote yay, and I'll tell you why. These people in the city of East Cleveland, these workers have to be paid.
Absolutely.
Now, however, there are things in this budget that are absolutely ludicrous. When I took my oath, I promised to do certain things. And I assume that you all took the same oath. And that oath is, I would uphold the Constitution, uphold the laws of the city of Cleveland, uphold East Cleveland,
You live in Cleveland or something, sir?
uninterrupted, please. The city of East Cleveland,
Order.
the state of Ohio, and the
Order.
Constitution of the United States. Now, my constitutional rights have already been violated by not recognizing me as councilman. It's a violation of the due process of the Constitution, due process clause. Now, also, there are other things in paragraph 2 that I'm sure you know, that you shall act faithfully, and this council is not doing that by misreading a law that is clear in in East Cleveland, as far as misreading the elector, please vote.
Actually, his time is up.
No.
His time is up.
After all of these, well,
Sir, your time is
there
That was a
is,
short 2 minutes.
there is,
I'm running the clock
a
too.
quote by,
You don't have to be cool, man. You don't have to lay down.
I can't speak, people
They
will
will
be
try to
interrupted.
put you out
Interrupted.
now.
It's 2 minutes and-
There is a quote by a famous philosopher that says, water boy, the man with the bucket. If you don't want the job, you shouldn't have undertook it. And you are not doing your job, you're not following your oath that you all swore
Sir,
to.
that's your time.
And when you get the point,
No, we don't.
yeah, well, they do. I didn't expect you all to.
So you a resident?
Who you heard me?
Yeah, you a
Are you
It's
Well, you read
ridiculous.
my resume,
Just
you know all
ridiculous.
about me.
Just
So don't-
idiotic, redundant questions to antagonize people who should be allowed to speak. She can't.
He does.
Another comment?
This a,
Once you got a court order,
this a clown show.
she can't dismiss people from council.
Right. This a clown show.
Receive the communication closed.
I had a comment on the budget.
Okay, I didn't see. it.
Do you live in East Cleveland?
Absolutely.
Can you come to the microphone?
I sure can. I was just waiting for my brother here to get finished.
Name and address.
Appreciate it.
Lee Coleman, Jr., 16215 Forest Hills Boulevard, East Cleveland, Ohio, since 1963.
Uh-oh.
I've been a resident around, as far as the budget is concerned, the first responders and the city workers need to be paid in total ASAP. And any of the suggested raises that were recommended need to go into place. In order for us to move forward as a city, we have to have an infrastructure and the supporting services. If they're not paid, the city can't go anywhere. And while I understand that we run behind on income, some things just have to happen. Sometimes you gotta sometimes you put things on credit so that we can continue to move forward. Zeroing out professional services, I think, is a grave mistake. I watched this city go down and look almost, and not only on economic, but biological flames as the buildings and infrastructure crumble down around us. Keeping the grass cut, keeping the sidewalks done, keeping the animals beat back, and all those things are necessary. We just got the city back. Cutting off those services is going to set the city back tenfold. All you gotta do is stop for one season, for 1 minute, and this city will be back to right where it was. We just got investors to the point where with the development projects that we got going on, are ready to come on and dovetail into the project that we got in place. And the buzz has been very positive, and there's a whole bunch of private investors waiting with their wallet to see what we are going to do. And any cut in the professional services would be a grave mistake. So I think that we should, I'm not familiar with corporate budgeting, but not municipal budgeting. And unless you're familiar with municipal budgeting, I think we should approve the budget as it is in total. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Justin Anderson, 1865 Rosa. So I want to give everybody a brief background on how municipal budgeting works. The mayor sends down an estimate, something called estimated resources, of how much money he thinks the city will bring in as a whole. And his estimate that the city will bring in around 21 or 24 million, one of those two, which to me, I still can't see us bringing in that much, but that's how much he says the city will bring in. But he wants to spend 36 million. It doesn't make any sense. If you're saying we're only gonna bring in 21 million, how can you ask council to approve a budget to spend 36 million? And that's why some of the fiscal oversight commission members are here today. And that's why we have a $6 million deficit, because we're saying we're gonna bring in $2, but we're asking to spend $30. And I don't think this council, well, previous in the past, have paid extreme details to this budget. And I mean like over the last 20 years and 15 years, far back. I don't think most of the people were on this council. So when people come up here and say, we should approve the budget as is, well, you're approving the spending a deficit of over $12 million. So why would somebody approve a budget? The mayor says we're gonna bring in around 21 million, but he tells you he needs 36 million. That doesn't make any sense. So you all have to make the cuts like the fiscal commission told you to do. It's not nothing you probably want to do personally. They said you have to make cuts, you gotta get creative, you gotta find ways to make some money. You have to be creative. So please, I would not approve no budget that is $12 million over what the mayor is saying we're gonna bring in. It doesn't make any sense, and you don't have to know municipal finance to do that. I would not approve no original budget.
For what?
Did he? Doesn't make any sense.
What we need to know is how much time remains in this payroll period.
Receipts of communication, I'm sorry.
Receipts of communication received from the East Cleveland Public Library from Elmer Turner regarding code of conduct for the library. It spells out the first level, second level, and third level infractions regarding misconduct that's happening within the library. So that receipt of communication was sent to the council office.
What does it say?
In your packages behind the receipts of communication, that's information that will speak to later. Legislation?
Comments from the council?
Is the mayor, are you here on behalf of the mayor?
No, I am not. The mayor said that all the information has been before you since November 15th. You have everything you need to do in order to reasonably rule on the appropriation.
Ms. Gowdy?
Yes.
Would you like to give a report at this time?
Yes, my report is tomorrow we will be having a special contract meeting, Thursday, January the 12th, talking about some option of a grocery store. And we will be meeting here at the council office at 7 p.m. So you all are invited. We already got the notice out, so you will read your notice. And we're going to have some interest in talking about moving the city forward. How about that? Something new. So, second of all, I'm the type of person that is fair with everybody. When it comes down to swearing, we as council people know the rules. And to have a meeting like this, it don't look good. Now, we already know that the Board of Election already had told us that Mr. McLean was not eligible to be sitting in this seat. Me and Councilor Martin had an interview with one of them didn't show up, that was Jackie Cooper. She no-showed on the interview. The second interview we had with Mr. McLean, and we had made our choice. We went into the executive meeting and made our choice who we want to be on council. Now, you might not like the fact who we pick, but every time when the council picks somebody, we picking them because we get the first choice of picking them, not Councilor Martin. Councilor Martin only appoint somebody if we did not pick somebody, and he knows the rules. He's been here for how many years?
Jesus Christ.
But at the end of the day,
Some hooked on phonics. This some hooked on phonics shit, yo.
we is trying to move the city forward, even with the budget. Some things might have to be cut. Everybody cutting across the board. What is the problem? If we have to get money that has to come in our city and we lose more than we bring it in, we're gonna be up under the bridge again. Now, what we have did It made it a balance for everybody to get paid. You are going to get paid, but some folks just going to be cut. Because they making more money than they don't even show up here, you know? So they working, some of them working just to get a paycheck. Somebody just working and not gonna get a paycheck. Cause some things have to be cut. And the reason why I said not getting a paycheck, because when you cut, people seem to leave. And we got to cut. We got to cut. It's gonna hurt me as much as it hurts you.
Right,
But guess what?
right.
Change is good for our city. If you look outside of your
Christ,
door,
are you serious?
you'll see why. Right.
We can't be serious right now.
Councilman Bowles,
Thank you very much, Council President Stevenson. We've been trying to resolve this finance issue for some time now. We find, and I have found for the past year, that I have had questions for the finance director, who is the alleged finance director because he's not been approved by council as required by the charter. I have been asking to have my questions answered for a year and not have them satisfactorily answered. Former council president Martin has canceled finance committee meetings. We had a finance committee meeting
Fire
that,
clerk of court.
we've had meetings that,
She a liar.
the director, Mr. Eahan, has not
Pathological.
attended. Last Friday, the mayor scheduled a meeting at 2:30 in the afternoon, when two of our members were working and one was out of town. He was notified ahead of time that that meeting could not happen. He told us that he would be attending our 7 o'clock meeting where we could have a quorum, but he did not show up. He was at a meeting of his own down in his solar building. Mr. Ian had decided between 2:30 and 7 that he was ill, and he's not coming in this week. Makes it difficult. Well, he's had other times when he could have answered questions. He came and he said he could stay for 15 minutes. I'm sorry, that's not adequate. He needs to be present to answer our questions, and if he's not, that's a problem. We have had so many problems. Well, let me mention one other thing before I go on to this, which is my last thing, which is that there is a precedent from the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections regarding being an elector and being allowed to be on the ballot. You will recall that in 2020, Sean Ward was removed from the ballot because he had not been an elector for the period of time required for a mayor. For a mayor, it's 2 years. For a council member, it's only 1 year. Nonetheless, a wannabe counselor doesn't even manage that. He didn't register in East Cleveland until August, and he didn't vote in East Cleveland until November. That is not adequate. People are saying that Mr. Shabazz is not eligible. They're saying he works for East Cleveland. That's not true. He hasn't worked in East Cleveland since 2014. And that is not a conflict if he works for Cleveland. So I've been concerned that Barbara McKay Smith from the Fiscal Oversight Commission thinks that $537,582.15 budgeted for the impound lot could be eliminated. They confirmed that Brandon King has spent more money than appropriated. A letter to that effect was sent to the Ohio legislature in a report on cities in fiscal emergency. They also stated that East Cleveland is unlikely to leave fiscal emergency soon. Last year, we spent $669,851.55 on grass cutting. Let me finish my
Thank you. No.
Okay,
Nobody wanna hear you.
There were irregularities in voting those counts.
Cut
Come
her
on, Council
mic.
President.
Cut her mic.
Come on, man. You shut
Yes.
up.
We have attempted over the last few months to have meetings with call the meeting, certain people don't show. It's that simple. I said a week ago that the most important thing for us to do is pass a budget so our employees get paid.
Right.
Police, fire, and everybody else.
Right.
That's the most important thing. If we would have met, we could have tweaked this and kind of analyzed it and went through it. You don't do that at a council meeting. At a council meeting, when you come to a council meeting, you know what you're gonna do.
Right.
You're gonna vote on it.
Right.
Okay. I know why I was doing it. We follow the proper process and procedure. Mark McLean is legally on this council because I followed the charter. That allowed me to do that. I think they swore in the teeth 2 or 3 times. He's not a bad person. They swore him 2 or 3 times. They didn't get it right, and I told them they wouldn't get it right. So, what I want to do tonight, I want to get involved in politics and personalities, is pass
Yes.
my suggestion, a temporary budget, at least for the next 3 months.
So we
Then
can
we
pay.
have 2 or 3 months to tweak this thing and get it right.
That makes sense,
Okay.
actually.
Period. The
That
last
actually
time we
makes
called a
sense.
meeting, they didn't show. I know 2 or 3 times we called a meeting, certain council people didn't show. Okay. That is the problem. Okay. That is the problem. So
Right.
the wisest thing for us to do
All right.
is to pass a budget, or a temporary budget right now. This is my suggestion. I'm only one person. And then in the next couple of months, up until March 31st, we pass the permanent appropriation. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Counselor Shabazz?
Yeah, you know, I just came in.
That's
so
the best
I'm
response
trying
I've
to
heard
get
all night.
Caught up with everything, but you can't spend more money than you bring in. I mean, corporate America, you just can't do that.
Do it all the time.
Yeah, that's why we had bad management.
It's not poor, man. People spend, every year y'all spending what everybody spending $1 billion for
Excuse
Christmas.
me, he's calling in order. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can't have more money going out than's coming in. You gotta have a plan. The city don't have a plan. Any organization, any corporation, you have to have a plan. When you come to City Hall, you don't see a plan. Everything is done secretly. And that's not, that's just not happening.
How do we get a budget
Not
passed?
school, not system, a school system.
That's what everybody should
Protection of
be
your property
concerned
value.
about.
That's what runs a city and keeps a city in good order. You should be concerned about your property value. If you flatline, you need to be out there participating. So I have never been in a city that nobody has equity in the property. That's ridiculous. That's embarrassing.
How you know?
We know it. I've been in real estate for 10
Oh
years.
my God. Oh my God.
You don't have to list out.
So that's where we at.
We need to pass a budget.
Somebody ran over, knocked down a water hydrant, and then no water come out. Then I drive down the street, one is open, ain't no water come out. You know how dangerous that is?
If we don't pass that budget, it's gonna get even worse.
Yes,
I'm going to hold my report to the end of this meeting, and I'm going to move the meeting to legislation.
Pass that budget.
Number 01-23.
I
And
need to
appropriations.
I have to pass the gavel for this guy.
Both of those carry the name. Record reflect that the gavel's been passed, the council president, Gowdy.
Can't understand you. Speak louder, please.
Who is he? Why is he even up there? Oh
Yes,
my
ma'am.
God.
Ordinance number 01-23, an appropriations ordinance that amends the mayor's estimate from $36,103,444.26 to $26,375,969.30 in various funds for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of East Cleveland, Ohio, for a period between January 1st, 2023 and December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency to ensure funding for continued city police and fire services. Requested by Finance Director Charles Ayayan, sponsored by Corinne Stevenson, Council President, placed on the agenda January 1st, 2023, special council meeting as an emergency. Council President.
Council President,
Council President.
this ordinance bear your name. What is your pleasure?
I would like to read into the record what the situation is. The council was given a document today when they arrived. There are some problems, some technical problems that we have to correct with this document. First off, the ordinances and resolutions, section 103 of the charter requires that the ordinances and resolutions, to the extent practical, shall be prepared and submitted in writing to the council office and sponsored by the chairperson of the executive committee or standing committee as appears most closely to have jurisdiction over the subject of the ordinance or resolution. Section 2 of 103.2, I'm not gonna read the full statement, I'm gonna read the statements that apply to the council. The chairperson of any standing legislative policy committee or executive committee shall be responsible for preparation and issuance of meeting notices through the clerk of council for all meetings of their respective committees. In section 103.6, meetings to be public exceptions, council committees and all other boards, commissions, and committees and other decision-making bodies of the city shall conduct all meetings in public. Call for the following purposes and except for executive sessions which shall be closed to the public. The following information is requested to determine the legitimacy of the preparation of the budget in public. Public preparation will legitimize the agenda item. Please submit the meeting notice with date and time for public meeting where the agenda item was developed. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that this agenda item is already, the number for this agenda item is already in use. So we cannot use this number twice. We have to have a new number. So that means that this agenda item is gonna have to be tabled, it has to be redone, and we have to come back and do it again.
Why does this happen all the time?
Right. I'll be right back with part 2, y'all.
Man.